Hello friends and internet strangers. My name is Jasper and I'd like to show you how I made this Night in the Woods cosplay. It's a pale cat, the playable character in the mini-game Demon Tower. I know it's a bit unorthodox for a Night in the Woods cosplay, but as you can see here, the style actually works really well for the main characters too, since they're very 2D and cartoony. If you want to just skip ahead and see how I made the hat, put the timestamp right here. Alright, let's get started. I started with the easy stuff that didn't involve any actual crafting, just to get it out of the way and done. Her clothes are grey, so I wore my grey sweater and my very faded black jeans. They were close enough for me because I didn't want to buy clothes to just wear for one costume and then have to get rid of later. Now, I didn't have a green cape, but I do have this green skirt that I just can't seem to get rid of, even though I never wear it. But it worked out because I was able to just attach it to my sweater using safety pins, and it looked like a cape. You could probably make it look a little bit better if you used like cord or something, but I didn't have any, so safety pins it was. First of all, before I even made anything, I made a quick sketch of the character, noting all the aspects of her design, especially shape and color. Since she's just a few pixels, it was pretty simple to do. Here it is. You can also see that I added a key to her design, since getting keys is a big part of the game. Now, this gave me a sort of blueprint to work with and refer back to. I really recommend making these for your projects, since they give you a clear idea of what you need to do next. So next I made the red cone hat there and the key. The cone hat was pretty simple. I think it was just a semicircle of red cardboard that I cut out, and it's a bit difficult to see, but I actually ended up sewing it in place just to make it nice and secure. The material really didn't want to curve, so sewing it helps keep it in place. And the key was created by just copying the design onto graph paper. So graph paper, it's got all those little squares, and basically I had the equivalent of one sort of pixel would be one square, and then after I had made that design and cut it out, I traced it on the red construction paper, cut that out, and attached some red threads that I could hang it around my neck, basically. This sword here was pretty simple and fun to make. So I started with cutting 2 pieces of cardboard out in the shape of a sword blade, and then I reinforced that with simple dowels from Dollar Red. So I took 1 piece of the cardboard, put the dowels down the center line, and also put the hilt too. And then once that had glued, I added the second piece of cardboard on top. To get that tapered edge, I just taped it down using super simple tape. And it gave it's a little hard to pick up, but it's wider in the center and then tapers on the edge. So after I did that, I also attached dowels for the hilt here. It was the most difficult part because it's at a 90-degree angle, but I just used a lot of tape for that. And it worked. It's a little bit wobbly, but you could probably do a better job. So then I coated the entire thing with tinfoil. I just glued it down again and kind of concealed the raw edge by doing a little bit of an overlap and ending it like there's the piece ends here and it creates a line down the center of the sword. So after that was all dry, then I cut out this red construction paper and turn that into the hilt. It also helps to add a little bit of reinforcement to the dowels too. Lastly, I painted on some blood stains just on both sides. and that's it. This part was by far the hardest to figure out, but once I had a good plan, it all came together relatively quickly for a handmade hat helmet costume thing. I tried a few different options, but the final rendition this year was based on Zygote Brown Designs DIY cardboard gingerbread man costume. There's a link in the description if you want to check it out yourself. I just modified it. So here are the components of the hat. There's the front piece, which in mine is actually 3, but it should just be 1. And the back piece here, they're the same shape. They're the curved side pieces. And then there are the inner ear pieces, which are flat. There's also a hidden piece just under there, which rests on the top of my head. It also supports the cone hat here. The final piece is the visible top that I did have to paint, and it's in a bit of an unusual shape. There's a cutout for the hat here. So before I put it all together, I painted the visible flat pieces white in 2 coats. Then I drew the cat's expression on the front piece and cut out the sclera and pupil. So after that, I glued cutout black nylon stocking pieces to the inside of the eyes so that I could see out, but people couldn't actually see my eyes. In hindsight, I should have just cut the whole thing out and put black nylons with painted irises on for added visibility, because the visibility in this is very poor. You can see, but just not that much. And lastly, I painted on the colored details of the face. Sorry, I forgot to mention this, but the width of the side pieces was determined by the distance between the back of my head and my nose for a snug fit so that it wouldn't wobble around on my head, basically. Now, to put it all together. I started with connecting the front and back pieces together with the side and inner ear pieces. So to do this, I glued the front to the sides, let that dry, and then glued the back on afterwards. So I used a combination of super glue, basic glue, and a bit of tape on the inside to get it all stick together. And it has surprisingly good structural integrity somehow. Then I glued the inner top piece on, so that's the one that you can actually see. It's sort of like around there. So if you're doing this, make sure that it's positioned so that if it's resting on the top of your head, your eyes can see through the eye holes. Otherwise, there's no real point in putting them in. It would be a shame. Then after that, I attached the cone hat on the hidden top piece there, and then finally put the visible top piece on to hide the guts and hold the hat in place extra securely. The cone hat, that is, not the whole helmety thing. Lastly, I painted the curved sides 2 coats, which, by the way, they were curved by folding the cardboard along each of the corrugated lines. And that's it. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and I hope you learned something or you're inspired. That's all. Bye.